All right, this is Domino, this is Martini, and behind me is Porscha. Domino doesn't like Porscha, and well, I don't say doesn't like, but has been getting in fights with Porscha. In this video, we're gonna go over how you can let your dog out of the kennel in a structured way. Normally, when we go let her out, she's kind of a little ball of fury ready to come out of the kennel. Sometimes mom asks her to sit, and she doesn't let her out until she sits, or doesn't open the door until she sits. Is that how you do it? Okay. So basically what I like to do, and we've got this cordoned off because one of the dogs has figured out how to let the other two dogs out. So basically I'm gonna take this off for now because they're all safe. So basically if I open, the dog's really excited and I open the door, that's the energy the dog's gonna have when it comes out. It's gonna spurt out all over the place. And excited is not necessarily happy when it comes to dogs. A lot of us confuse excited for happy. And so excited is an unbalanced state of mind. Now, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let the dog out, but I'm gonna do it in a structured way. So I'm going to block with my feet. Now, I have big clown feet, so I've got to kind of turn my feet sideways. And basically, I wait for the dog usually to sit or lie down. Now, her energy is pretty relaxed because we were in the room, but I'm guessing if you're gone and she's in here and you go to let her out, she's a lot more animated than she is now, correct? So usually what I do is I wait for the dog to sit at first. As soon as it sits, I take a step back. The dog tries to come out, I move forward. I take a step back. And then I get to invite the dog out. Come. Come. Now, this is a lot easier because she's been in here for quite a while we were sitting talking right outside the camera view. But normally, like I said, the dog's really big and boisterous, and you let the dog out, that's the energy you're kind of rewarding. And so if the dog's protesting or vocalizing, I definitely don't even go over for that. Because that's train the dog that yelling at me is a good way to get me to let you out, and also confuse the dog and think I had more authority. And I can tell the humans what to do. There we go. So now, so that was the first stage that I do is I want the dog to sit. So I come and I open the door and I block it with my feet. Now, because these are smaller dogs, you might want to actually get a tennis racket and you just dip the tennis racket right here and it blocks them from exiting. But I want the door open so they have the ability to come out. I'm blocking them. I'm creating a structured situation with my feet. Now the second stage is once you can go and you open the door like that and you're blocking the dog sitting down right away, as soon as it sits down, you let it out at first. And after a while, the dog goes, oh, if I sit, then that gets me out of the kennel. So the dog realizes that, it'll start sitting immediately as soon as you come over there. And then you can start walking away like I was doing there, and you want to take away 2 steps and pause. If she stays put, take 2 more steps and pause. And don't move it too far away too fast, but eventually we can get to the point where you can come and open the door and go sit on the couch over there, watch TV, and then give her a release command. And there's nothing but air blocking her from exiting the kennel. So the first way I do it is I make the dog sit before I let it out, like she did there. But she was already pretty calm. The next way I do it, well, I'm not going to do it here because it'd probably be not the most exciting footage, and you have to outlast your dog. Don't tell it to sit. There's another dog trainer we were talking about, and she likes to tell the dogs to SIT, or she forces them to SIT or LAY. When a dog sits, it's this way of saying I'm comfortable enough, I'm relaxed enough to take a sitting position, puts the dog at a bit of a disadvantage. Laying down is like I completely blissed out, so I surrender. And so as soon as the dog's completely non-challenging, then I invite it out. So the first way I do this, I block, and when the dog stops challenging, I take a step back. If the dog doesn't come out and stays there, then I would call the dog out. That's the first stage. And eventually you want to get to 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps, and the dog's staying there while it's seated, and before you call it out. The next stage is I do the same thing, but this time I wait for the dog to actually lay down. So I kind of stand here, and the dog stops protesting me. I take 2 steps backwards and pause. If it stays there, I can take 2 more steps back and pause, but don't move further than about this far away, maybe where this line is maximum. Because you want to be able to rush back. If your dog sneaks out, then it'll continue sneaking out. And eventually, you just wait. A dog can't stand there sitting forever or standing forever. Eventually, they'll sit. Now, if they sit, again, don't start moving away until they're sitting. But once they actually lay down, then I take my knee and I ask the dog to come out. And then after the dog starts laying down right away, then I wait 1 second before I let it out, and 2 seconds, and 3 seconds. Now we have 3 dogs here. If I come back from work or wherever it is, and all 3 dogs are chirping, I'm not going to even look at them. I'm not even going to start this process. Let's say that Martini here calms down. Well, then I would get up and just walk over to attempt letting her out. But if she gets all wiggly, then I might kind of wait, and as long as she's not barking, that's fine. I would start the process. But these 2 are barking like crazy. That's why I'm not letting them out. I want to reward the dogs who are giving me the behavior that I want. Calm behavior gets you out of the kennel quickly. Barking is the longest way to get out of the kennel. And so basically, I do the same process for her, and I'm going to let them out. Now when I let my dogs out, they're nice and calm. But if they all race out and they're running around, they're spazzy, and these two already have issues, it's probably more likely going to be a fight. So again, the first stage is come over, open the door, block it, and the dog would normally be standing up. As soon as it sits down, you take a small step back and wait. If it stays sitting, then you can invite it out the first couple times. After a while, then it stays seated, then you take a second step back. And then you call it out. And eventually third step, or you may take 3 steps and wait for 15 seconds. You can kind of play around with those elements. Then the next stage is you're gonna wait for her to sit. When she sits, you take a big step backwards. And it'll be like that, like a waltz. You go back and forth, back and forth. And then basically just wait for the dog to LAY. Now the record for me for this is I had a bulldog, actually it was a boxer. It took 1 hour and 15 minutes the first time it laid down. So you have to outlast the dog. That's one of the dirty secrets of dog behaviors. Every time you give in, you make them more defiant the next time. So the first time it was like 1 hour and 15 minutes. The second time it was like 12 minutes. And after that it was like 4 minutes, and then it was like pretty much instantaneous. So once you reach that tipping point, it goes very fast. Most people will never invest that initial amount of time. And the trainer, like I said, I wouldn't even tell the dog SIT. There we go. Come. And you can come up with a fun command word that means to exit. You can say come, basic come command, or you can say like release, vacation, holiday, parole, whatever you want to come up with. Each dog has its own unique command word to come out of the kennel. And again, she's probably the troublemaker between the two, but she went over there. No protesting over there. She protests mostly when she's the one that's sequestered. We're going to work on that next. But these are tips and tricks you can use to let your dogs out of the kennel in a very structured way to help them relax and stay calm.